Jai Gurudev. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudiraye. Jai Gurudev. Yeah, the fine distinction between, for me, the takeaway is that you, when you do things without any intention, you're just doing it because you have to do it, also will accrue some punya, and that is the swarga. That's my understanding. And then, but when you do it with an attitude of antakarna shuddhi, of polishing your mind for the sake of moksha, then that becomes karma yoga. Otherwise, it is still a kamya karma. Unknowingly, you're doing a kamya karma. Like even you're doing your nitya puja or your sandhya vandana and all that, it becomes a kamya karma if you do not bring in this attitudinal shift in your mind. That is why I think maybe the reason why they say, oh, you must do it with honor and respect. It is not done mechanically. So even our sadhana, kriya, meditation, you have to bring in that aspect of honor. That might be the one, the game changer over here. That's my understanding after today's read. I was also thinking that you're doing without any intention does not, it does not amount to kamya karma. But what Swamiji has mentioned here, if you're just doing a nitya karma, naimitika karma, even without any intention, that amounts to being a kamya karma. You acquire punya. And the reason why it is so important for us to do nitya naimitika karmas is also very clearly mentioned. It is only then that your all the sanchita and all that whatever you have innumerable number of births or combinations that can happen. You can take a birth as a cockroach or a bird or anything, but all that gets overshadowed by the punya that you get from the nitya naimitika karma. That is why the shastra says you have to do this. Yeah, I was thinking maybe we should read the last few paras one more time. If everybody is okay with that, I would like to share that.
Yes, Pramraji, I too feel.
Because
Yes.
I was the last few paras, I think from what is sannyasa or downwards. Anyone wants to share? Yeah, I think we'll start from here, no? Karma Yogi's Punya Pala is conducive to spiritual progress. Should I start from here? Or what is Tyaga? Tell me from where you want me to read.
Brahmaraji, wherever you feel like it is.
No, if any of you has any particular part from where we need to read, please let me
it was a very eye-opener. Like even to kids, we teach them, no, do this for your success, do this for better life partner.
That is what he says. There is nothing wrong in doing. I think, you know what? I will start from the beginning. Where is that? So that we at least, we ingest what is this. We need to assimilate this beautiful. It was quite a different perspective today when Nana was reading it. 1 second.
Also, your intention is very important while you're doing this. He was saying, like, attitude
Right,
should reach Kitapa. That is the intention.
right.
Most important is the attitude, the best, whatever it is. In the throughout the life, our attitude is the most important. Bhava, I felt. Attitude to reach moksha or attitude to gain punya. So we have to have the viveka, which is short term and which is long term.
See, this one, do you want me to read from the beginning of this? Yeah, I think the Nitya Karma, Naimik, that is where we are all getting stuck in, no?
Today, someone asked what are the prashchitta karma, and if you feel guilt, how to come out of it. But I remember always Gurudev says every moment you are out of, means you are pure. Same moment that things goes away and you start a new, next moment is new for you.
I'm not able to share this. Before we start, Sumaji wanted me to share this with her. What I will do is I will share the PDF in the group. I'm not able to share it in the as a mail, maybe because it is a long. I will be able to share screen up until another half now 45 minutes. After that, I would have to leave. So the last 15 minutes, if any of you can share, will be good. Huh? I'm sending it in the group. You can email it to yourselves or you can share from your iPhone or phone maybe. So should we start from the introduction? We'll go quickly. This chapter is a long chapter. Though nothing new is said, there is some additional elaboration of the various topics already unfolded in the Gita Shastra. Therefore, introducing the 18th chapter, Shankara says, summing up the meaning of the whole Gita Shastra is in this chapter, the meaning of the Vedas has to be told. Only for this purpose, this chapter is begun. The subject matter of the Vedas is the subject matter of the Gita Shastra, which is twofold, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya is the understanding of the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, which reveals the identity of the Jiva, the individual, and Ishvara, the Lord. And Yoga Shastra is the means of preparing the individual for Brahma Vidya. Thus, yoga includes any karma that is in keeping with dharma and done with a proper attitude, with devotion, bhakti. It also includes a life of renunciation, sannyasa. We have seen that there are two lifestyles mentioned for the pursuit of moksha. One is sannyasa, a life of renunciation. The other is a life of karma, activity. This life of activity, however, cannot be a means for moksha if it is not attended by a proper attitude. While everybody does karma, if it is to pave the way for moksha, it has to be done with the attitude of a karma yoga. This attitude, bhakti, and appreciation of Ishvara with a commitment to moksha has to be there not only for the karma yogi, but also for the sannyasi. Even a person who's doing karma purely for a result would offer a prayer to the Lord asking for that result. He also has bhakti. Devotion is common to anyone who recognizes Ishvara. But then, if moksha is not the end in view, Ishvara is made into an accomplice for your ordinary exploits. If you want to gain some money or power, you ask God also to chip in a little bit. Though the prayer is directed towards Ishvara, Ishvara is not the aim of that prayer. In this situation, we understand that there is a confusion with reference to Purushartha. Artha, security, and Kama, pleasure, become so important that naturally you require Ishvara's help to accomplish them. About this type of devotion, Krishna has said, Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manushya Partha Sarvashaha Kankshantah Karmanam Siddhim Yajanta Iha Devataha Kshipram Hi Manushe Loke Siddhir Bhavati Karmaja. Which we can paraphrase as, people are all following me alone, but they don't know it. And therefore, they invoke other devatas to get some small results in this world. Thus, we have a devotee in distress, Artha, who, whenever he is in trouble, raises his hands and says, Oh Bhagavan, please help me. Where are you? Then there is a devotee who uses Ishvara's grace as a means for accomplishing what he wants, the Artharthi. Between the cup and the lip, there are many slips, and he wants to make sure he has the Lord's grace so that there are no slips. There is nothing wrong with either of these, but then we have a third bhakta who does not want something from Ishvara. He wants Ishvara. He is a mumukshu and therefore a karma yogi. He is not simply someone who wants to accomplish. He wants to be free, and for that, he wants to know. What he wants to know is his identity with Ishvara, and therefore, he is also a bhakta. For the same reason, the sannyasi also is a bhakta. There is no separate bhakti yoga. The sannyasi is absolved from the obligatory duties which the Vedas enjoin a person to perform when he takes the vow of sannyasa. He completely frees himself from all obligatory duties in order to pursue knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. The karma yogi retains his obligatory duties but gives up all actions that are meant to produce some punya or something because of which he will be more secure. So the karma yogi is one. I'm just giving the what my understanding is. The karma yogi is not an artha. He is not an artharthi. He is a complete mumukshu. So that defines a karma yogi. So he should be a mumukshu to begin with, and then with an attitude of wanting to purify his antakarana. Whatever he does it with that attitude. So that should be the attitude of a karma yogi. He has seen through all that and therefore does only the things that are to be done with proper attitude while pursuing knowledge. The sannyasi has no duties to perform. The karma yogi has only duties to perform. There is no third person called a bhakti yogi. If there is, does he do karma or not? If not, he becomes a sannyasi. If he does, he is a karma yogi. Whether it is a ritual, a puja, or even meditation, it is still an action. And the one who is doing it is a devotee, bhakta. The same actions that are done for the gain of security or pleasure can be done for antakarana shuddhi. If they are done for the sake of getting small results, that is also karma. But it cannot be called yoga because the purushartha is very limited. In any case, whether he is a karmi or a karma yogi, he is a bhakta. So this distinction, I think, is clear now, no? What distinguishes a normal bhakta who does things for his security and pleasure, that is for artha, artharthi, for his kama, kamya karma, all that. He is also a bhakta because he is doing karma to gain something. But above him is a karma yogi who does it with an attitude of gaining Ishvara. He wants Ishvara and nothing else. Only two types of commitment, nishtas, karma yoga and sannyasa, are pointed out in the Gita Shastra. Karma yoga includes the exact karma that one must do and the attitude with which one has to do it. Other disciplines like meditation, upasana, gaining a value structure, including amanitvadi qualities, puja, etc., are all included in karma yoga. If you analyze all the 18 chapters, you will find that neither karma yoga nor sannyasa is predominantly emphasized over the other. Both occupy sufficient space in the Gita format to indicate that the Gitacharya recognizes the importance of both as the means for moksha. Karma is also mentioned in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas in the form of injunctions to perform specific rituals like the Agnishtoma. A Brahmana should perform the Agnishtoma ritual. Brahmanena Agnishtomena Yajeta, it is said. For what purpose? It can be for heaven, Svarga, or for Antakarna Shuddhi. Therefore, the Karma Kanda is not just for a person who wants limited ends, a kami. It can be meant even for a mumukshu, and therefore it is not completely dismissed as useless. But the karma done should be used as a yoga. That is the emphasis. This is really, these last few sentences are really revealing, in the sense that there was always this doubt, why do we have karma kanda in the Vedas when moksha is the end? It makes a lot of sense now. And even that shloka in chapter 2, which says, what is that? Those use those very flowery words, and they talk about the way, the end of the rituals. This is the results you get. You know, all that to us, when you're looking at the materialistic world, for a kami, that is fine. But it actually has also a greater meaning. Karma kanda has a greater meaning even for a mumukshu.
Karma yoga itself is mumuksha only.
Correct.
It's not that even for a mumukshu, no.
No,
Karma yoga is for mumukshu only.
Correct. But you also have the kami, no? See,
Kami again sansari. You see,
samsari, that is what I'm saying. So the
in
karma
karma yoga, you are renouncing you are making tyaga of the result.
Correct. What I'm saying is the karma kanda is meant as much for the materialistic person, a kami, as much as it is meant for a karma yogi.
Yes.
Isn't it? Okay. So we cannot, we cannot relinquish the karma kanda just like that. There is a reason, there is a need, there is a purpose for the karma kanda, even for a karma yogi. Because it has to be done with an attitude of a yoga, used as a yoga. Do we go through these bird's eye view of Arjuna's questions? If there's a consensus, we'll go through this.
Yes, Dr. Dhamra.
Go through? Yeah, let's go through. Yeah, let's get this properly. A bird's eye view of Arjuna's questions. From what Shankara says in his introduction to the beginning of the 18th chapter, we understand that Lord Krishna seems to have decided to sum up the whole Gita Shastra and the meaning of the Vedas in this chapter. At this point, Arjuna asks a question. He wants to know the difference between sannyasa and tyaga. His asking tells us that he does not see the difference between the two. Look at Arjuna's questions. Originally, in the 3rd chapter, he wanted to know which of the two, sannyasa and karma, is better. If you consider knowledge is better than action, Krishna, why do you enjoin me to do this terrible action, Keshava? By these contradictory statements, you seem to confuse my mind. Tell me for certain the one thing by which I will gain liberation. In the 4th chapter, his question was entirely different. At the beginning of the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that the knowledge he has just revealed is not anything new. He says that he had himself told it long ago to Vivaswan. This is confusing to Arjuna, and he wants to know how he should understand that Krishna had told Vivaswan at the beginning, since Krishna's birth was after that of Vivaswan. Then Krishna explained that he was not born in the ordinary sense. He created a body for himself out of his own Maya. Sambhavami Atma Maya. Although, like Arjuna, he has had many births, he knows them all very well, while Arjuna does not. After that, he talked further about jnana and praised both jnana and sannyasa. Then, in the last verse, he exhorted Arjuna to get up and take to a life of karma yoga. Yogam athishta uttishta. Arjuna had a problem with this and said to Krishna in the beginning of the 5th chapter, you are praising both renunciation of action and karma yoga. Please tell me definitely which is better. Arjuna does not want both because there are two opposite things. Karma is to be followed, anushtheya, and jnana is something that has to be gained by pramana. Since they are two different pursuits altogether, how can sannyasa and karma yoga be identical? If they are not identical, why are you praising one and asking me to do the other? Then Lord Krishna again talked about sannyasa and karma yoga, saying that what is gained by a sannyasi is gained by a karma yogi. Yat sankhyaif prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Therefore, both of them are one and the same. Ekam sankhyancha yogamcha. But still, sannyasa is difficult to accomplish for the one who has no yoga. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha. While if you have karma yoga, it is easy. Yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. Then Krishna again talks about sannyasa and karma yoga, defining real sannyasa as not mere renunciation of karma, but renunciation of all actions through knowledge. Jnanena sarva karma sannyasa. Arjuna was silent, but Krishna, knowing that he did not understand, did not leave the topic, pointing out that the one who does the karmas that one has to do under the given circumstances, without depending upon the results of those actions, is truly a sannyasi. He is a yogi too. The one who merely gives up the ritualistic karma or secular activities without the proper attitude is not really a sannyasi. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiyah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyaha. So a sannyasi is not the one who just gives up ritualistic activities. He is the one who gives up all the results of action through knowledge. Jnanena sarva karma sannyasa. After this, he talks about meditation, saying that one should not think of anything else except Atma. Atma samstham manah kritva na kinchidapi chintayet, and likens the mind in meditation to an unflickering lamp in a windless place. Yatha deepo nivasasto nengate sopama smrita. Arjuna complains that his mind is nothing but agitation. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna, he says, and considers it to be as difficult to control as the wind. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Lord Krishna validates his problem, saying that there is no doubt that the agitated mind is difficult to manage. Asamshayam mahabahu mano durnigraham chalam, and then assures him that it can be handled by practice and by dispassion. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Dispassion is nothing but objectivity, appreciating what is what. It is all cognitive, and practice abhyasa is nothing but a discipline in the light of an awareness about the mind and its ways of thinking. Then Arjuna had another problem. Suppose a person endowed with trust in Ishvara starts this pursuit, but makes inadequate effort, and his mind wanders away from this yoga, not gaining success in yoga. What would be his lot? Would he not die away without accomplishing anything? He had denied himself a lot of small worldly pleasures, thinking he was going to get some Paramananda. But suppose he did not gain it, then being denied of both becomes Ubhaya Vibhrashta and then died away. What would happen? Would he not be like one of those cloudlets that moved away from the larger cloud mass and perishes? The large cloud mass is moving slowly, and this cloudlet separates from the mass in order to arrive at the destination quickly. But it dissipates and fizzles out. Is it not the same with this person? He is neither here nor there. So what will happen to him? Lord Krishna answers him with a wonderful assurance. Once you have started on this track, there is no way of going back. Anyone who makes an effort for moksha does not go to a bad end. Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. If at all there is any lapse, it will only be to enjoy for a length of time some pleasant experiences created by one's punya. Then one will pick up the thread, born in a place where there is wealth and culture, or in a family of well-informed karma yogis. Prapya punya kritan lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga bhrashto bhi jayate athava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. There, one's mind will get connected to what one had gathered in one's previous body. Tatra paurvadehikam buddhim samyogam labhate. Something happens which triggers one to get connected to whatever was achieved in the previous body. This is exactly what happens. That is why we are all here on this class. That something happens which triggers one to get connected to whatever was achieved in the previous body. One picks up the whole thing with the sense that it is exactly what one is meant for. One loves what one does and thus pursues further and gains jnana. One will pick up the thread and continue one's journey, and therefore nothing is lost.
I think this is what is Swabhava.
Correct.
So we have to pick it up.
That is why, in order to lay the blueprint for this birth and the next birth, what we do now is very important. Most of Arjuna's questions are simple contextual questions. Only 3 or 4 are real. When he asked what the characteristics of a wise man are, Sthita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha, that is a real question. Similarly, Arjuna asks this question at the beginning of the 3rd chapter. If you think knowledge is better than karma, why do you impel me to engage in this terrible action? This is another real issue. And in the 5th chapter, he asks the same thing in a different form. You praise both renunciation of action and yoga, Krishna. Please tell me which one of the two is better. Now, after all these chapters, he asks the same question in different words. Arjuna Vacha, Sanyasasya Mahabaho, Tattvamichhami Veditum, Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha, Kritakeshini Shudana. I think Nana skipped this part, no? Should we go with this? I think we would not have completed. Yeah. I will go through this, to make it complete for our understanding. Maybe Nana skipped it because to give us the bird's eye view. The basis for Arjuna's question, both the words sannyasa and tyaga mean renunciation, And Krishna has used both throughout the Gita. Now Arjuna wants to know what, if any, is the distinction that Krishna is making between sannyasa and tyaga. There is a basis for this question. When Lord Krishna says, Tyaktva karma phala sangam nityatripta nirashrayaha, he speaks of the one who, giving up his attachment to karma phala and thus being not dependent upon anything else, is happy with himself. Here, tyaga is the renunciation of karma phala. But when he says, Nirashir yata chittatma tyakta sarva parigrahaha, he talks about the one who has given up all ownership towards the objects in the world. The word tyaga is used in the sense of sarva karma sannyasa. In another place, when he says yoga sannyasta karmanam, the one who has given up all karmas by yoga, the word sannyasa is used in the sense of the renunciation of karma. In Jneyasa Nitya Sannyasi Yona Dveshtina Kankshati, he defines the sannyasi as the one who neither despises anything nor earns for anything. Here, a karma yogi is referred to as a sannyasi. In the instance where he says, Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim, the word tyaktva is used to indicate the renunciation of the karma yogi, who, giving up the results, gains lasting peace. Then again, when he says sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi, giving up all karmas by knowledge, the one who has self-mastery rests happily, he uses the word sannyasa in the sense of sarva karma sannyasa, born of knowledge. But the verse anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir nachakriya tells us that the one who performs action because it is to be done, not motivated by the result of action, is a sannyasi, and not the one who has just merely given up the fire rituals or other secular actions. He is the real sannyasi and he is the karma yogi. Here, the karma yogi is equated to the sannyasi. And again, the same idea is conveyed in the following verse. Yam sannyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava. O Arjuna, what is called sannyasa is also called yoga. The following instances refer to a karma yogi. No one who has not given up all his sankalpas becomes a yogi. Nahi asanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. The one who has given up all sankalpas is called an accomplished yogi. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudhas tadochyate. Completely giving up all karmas born of sankalpa, sankalpa prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvan asheshataha. With a mind endowed with sannyasa yoga, being free, you will come to me. Sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukta mamu upaishyasi. Vimukta mamu upaishyasi. Those who are committed to me, giving up all action, E sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. Gaining self-mastery, then giving up the results of all actions. Sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. The following instances refer to sarva karma sannyasa. So all the above refer to the karma yogi. Whereas the following refer to sarva karma sannyasa, renouncing all karmas unto me by knowledge. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. My devotee who has renounced all undertaking is beloved to me. Sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhaktas same priyaha. The one who has renounced all undertaking is known as the one who has gone beyond the gunas. Sarvarambha parityagi gunatitasya uchyate. All this looks confusing. The words sannyasa and tyaga are sometimes used identically, sometimes differently. Further, if tyaga means giving up of action, that is karma tyaga, there can be no connection to yoga because karma cannot be given up in karma yoga. Doing the anushtheya karma, the action that is to be done, is part of yoga. If tyaga is giving up of karma, between tyaga and yoga, there is opposition. Yoga is something that one has to do, and tyaga is giving up. How can I give up karma and make it yoga? If I give up karma, it becomes sannyasa. So naturally, Arjuna has a basis for a doubt. Both sannyasa and tyaga mean renunciation. However, we find that Lord Krishna uses the word tyaga more often than not in association with yoga. For example, in this instance, when he says, Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye, the karma yogis giving up attachment perform action for the purification of the mind. This is a very clear statement. Karma cannot create atma shuddhi, but if it is backed by renunciation of attachment to the results of action, sangam tyaktva, it can. Otherwise, karma can only bind you. It cannot release you. This is very powerful. I'm going to read this again. So,
It's really powerful.
no, isn't it?
Yes.
Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. The karma yogis giving up attachment perform action for purification of the mind. This is a very clear statement. Karma cannot create atma shuddhi. So just by doing our nitya karmas or by doing pujas, rituals, you cannot gain atma shuddhi. But if it is backed by renunciation of the attachment to the results of action, sangam tyaktva, it can. Otherwise, karma can only bind you. It cannot release you.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
Now, one is, okay, I don't know, maybe it's the word Atma Shuddhi, which I'm hearing first time. Because Atma by itself is Shuddha. So there is no Atma Shuddhi. Maybe Atma here is meaning the mind.
Correct. Here it means antakarna shuddhi.
Antakarna Shuddhi.
Correct.
So, yeah, that could be Antakarna Shuddhi. Second is, yeah, so what Swamiji is saying is with the, if you have attachment, and it is bound to be there when in karma, no matter, even if we say karma yoga and prasada buddhi and all that, still there is an attachment to the fruits of action at a very deep level, right? Because you cannot do anything without having a fruit in mind. Maybe you surrender it and you accept whatever comes, but there is still karma bandhan will be there. Is what I gather from this statement, where he's saying, unless you are totally renunciating the attachment to the results of action.
It's a very fine thing. Thank you for bringing up this question. I'm only looking at, supposing you're doing your Sandhya Vandan every day. Why did you first of all begin doing it? Because you were told by your teacher who has initiated you into it that this is something you do, it is good for you. So that good for you is a result of that action.
Is punya.
Is punya. So if you are doing it because your teacher told you, you're doing it out of respect. Of course, you're doing it out of respect, but you're doing it also because it is good for you. Then you are getting bound. You're doing it for the punya. And that nishtha you continue. You being very disciplined, you're doing your karma, nitya karma every day. but that is not going to be that does not make one a karma yogi. So if you're doing it with an attitude of keeping moksha in mind, it is not just because it is good for me I'm doing it. I'm doing it because mumukshutvam is my purpose. My purushartha is mumukshutvam. So you're yoking yourself higher. It does not become a kamya karma. Otherwise, even your nitya karma becomes a kamya karma. You may not do it with an end like a putra kameshti yaga, like the regular kamya karma, but then that good, that punya is still there. That becomes a kamya karma.
And that is what is attitude. Bhava.
But
Yeah.
Brahmaraji in Upanayan or whatever Nitya Karma we are doing, we are saying Brahmarpanamastu, Om Tat Sat. Means we surrender everything, the punya, the result. So what type of karma it will incur?
No, but again, correct, we're chanting all those, no doubt, Sunita ji. But then, with what attitude in mind did you actually start doing your Sandhya Vandan? If it is an attitude saying...
Because wise has told us, those who are jnani, they have told us. So we are following them, and they have some definite goal in their mind, and they are manifesting their dream. They are manifesting their sankalpa through, so that many people can connect to that rituals daily.
No,
that's why the guru is there. I think so.
For anything, you need punya, first of all. To come to even moksha, we need punya, that is grace. With that grace, we start. Okay? For that reason, we need it. First of all, that is the first step. Then you grow, then you change your attitude. I am not doing it for my punya, but I am doing it for my antakarana shuddhi, which is preface for moksha. Then you go towards moksha. I think that is the step by step it is.
Correct. See, unless you are focused on cleansing your mind, the Sandhya Vandan becomes only or any other ritual that we do, it only becomes a mechanical thing.
Not mechanical, to earn punya.
Whatever, like it will ultimately get punya. What I'm saying is, you're chanting the mantras, you're doing it as a ritual. All that will become mechanical, but then you have to yoke yourself to this higher goal of mumukshutvam, number one, and then you're doing this to that the intention of cleansing your mind should be there. That I think that is the difference that makes the nitya karma when performed by a karma yogi. The nitya karma that's performed by two people, one a non-karma yogi, the other is a karma yogi. So this distinction is this attitudinal shift in his mind, that he's doing this for his antakarna shuddhi. Even, for instance, forget about nitya karmas. Even if you're washing vessels, if you're cleaning the house, if you're doing it with the bhava of cleansing your mind, when you're washing these vessels, there are some vessels, I might be stepping a little aside, but I want to give this example. There are some vessels that require a little harder scrub. The regular scrub will not do. So you take the steel scrub or whatever and then scrub. When you're doing that, if you can relate that to your own mind, as in the mind requires that polishing. So you require a little more effort there. I'm not sure whether I'm getting it across, but then Atma Shuddhi is there as an intention behind all your actions.
No, but this Antakarna Shuddhi, this is my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, is something that that has to happen, meaning it's something happening automatically based on what you're doing in the outside world, right? Because there is no way you can put effort to do a antakarna shuddhi. Based on your conduct in your life, antakarna shuddhi is happening.
But there is viveka, no. How does it that
No,
doesn't
that
happen automatically?
no,
There
that
is that purushartha required, no?
no, the viveka and all that is on your transaction outside. You will use the wisdom in transacting in a very proper, authentic, and religious or spiritual way, because of which antakarna shuddhi might happen. But I personally feel that antakarna shuddhi is not something you can really try to put effort and create that. That is something that has to happen by itself based on all our daily activities, the way we do, the way we conduct, the way we interact with people, the way we view things in life. Everything is finally resulting in how good the antakarna shuddhi is happening.
Okay,
See,
let's
Viveka,
come back to the question.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
He told Viveka is not for, no, Viveka is for moksha only. We should know which is short term and which is long term. That is Viveka.
Yeah,
that is a must. That is a must. First thing, are you looking for a short term gain or a long term gain? That defines where you are.
Yeah. So what I'm
Let's
saying is,
That is the first thing. That is
Yeah.
the first thing. So we
Correct.
cannot say that Viveka is for the outside world. No. That is not Viveka. That is just a knowledge that this is good and this is not good. That is intellect. Viveka is to understand which is permanent and which is non-permanent. That is, we learned in our advanced course many times.
Yeah, so Suryaji, what I'm saying is Viveka, yes, that is to know the real, unreal, that is understood. But I'm saying finally that knowledge at the intellectual level, I'm saying right now we are still at the intellectual level, letting it assimilate and seep through into the final more deeper levels. But at this stage, that Viveka is what should help us to translate or change the way we view life, right? That is the purpose of it. If that Viveka is there, but you conduct your life the same way, because here this knowledge is all about the subject. It's not an objective knowledge, it's a subjective knowledge, right? The subjective knowledge has to work on the subject. And here subject means me, myself. So using that knowledge, how do I conduct my life? How do I deal with situations in life? How do I deal with people in life? This
That is
Viveka,
Karma Yoga. That is Karma Yoga.
no.
Yeah.
You can call it anything, but I'm
No,
saying
means it is not sannyasa. You see, sannyasa, you are leaving everything. You are with Atma.
No, the question is not about, we're not going to sannyasa now. The question is antakarna shuddhi and whether effort is required to do it. But let's come to the basic question. What is antakarna shuddhi?
yeah, antakarna shuddhi, my understanding is that it is a process which is cleansing your inner faculties. In this case, manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. These are the four main antakarna components. So that getting purified. Now that gets purified based on, because we are all grahasthas and in the world sannyas is different, right? So here, how we use the viveka, this knowledge, in dealing with our life. When I say dealing with our life, meaning our life with all the interactions that we have, all the other what you call, everything attached to us in our life, how we deal with all that is what is resulting in this antakarna shuddhi.
Again, I mean, let's understand this antakarna shuddhi again well. Only when we understand this, then we'll be able to actually take that intention also in whatever action we're doing, We're doing it for Antakarna Shuddhi.
Yeah, so
Isn't it?
Antakarna Shuddhi, look, Brahmaraji, what
Only karma yoga is the answer for cleaning that.
No. What is meant by Antakarna Shuddhi? What is meant by cleansing the mind?
That is clarity of mind only, no?
Hari
is
Om, it
Yeah.
Raga Dvesha Rahita
Correct.
state of mind is Karan Shuddha.
Isn't it?
You do not have likes or dislikes, neither for people nor for situation, for anything. It is like pure mind. That is my little understanding.
Yeah,
Very
so
right. So,
yeah, that is correct. So what is it? Why is it called Antakarna Shuddhi? And what is Shuddhi? My understanding is, look, anything that you clean well, whatever is, in this case, say the self shines forth, right? Means right now there are veils around it. Yeah, Ahankar, the toughmost or the hardest nut to crack, that is there. Beyond that, there is the memory, the intellect. All these are like some veils around the self, which doesn't allow the self to shine forth. Deep inside, we are all that Shuddha Chitta Chaitanya, right? But that is not able to shine forth because of all these barriers that are in between. This Shuddhi is going to make that as what you call, it becomes so soft
as
and
thin. Yeah.
yeah, as thin that the self starts to shine forth. So for that, these have to kind of melt and go away slowly.
You are right.
So
Vijay.
therefore,
You are
effort
going
is required. No, Vijayji. Antakarna Shuddhi is a happening, correct. But there is an effort on your part in giving up Raga Dvesha. See, if you want to cleanse the mind, how are you going to do it?
Correct. So that's what I was also saying. Same thing, that this will get shuddhified or purified based on how we start dealing with situations differently.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Every situation now, if we start dealing differently, means yes, the shuddhi is happening inside.
Correct. If you
Today,
remove
if
please go ahead.
No, if I am getting angry at something today, before the knowledge and all came into life, I was a kind of a perfectionist. Anything that is imperfect, I get agitated. My nature. But now it doesn't bother me. Okay, so some shuddhi happened inside. So I don't know whether I didn't put any effort to internalize or do anything internally, but yes, my outlook towards imperfection changed. Okay, TK, everyone is different. Some people may not be as perfect as I am. It's okay. I have started to ignore it.
You are doing Kriya, therefore it is cleaned.
That is because of Abhyasa and Vairagya. That's what Krishna says, no? Abhyasena tu, how this mind is so difficult to control, how do I get it in hold? And he says, Abhyasa and Vairagya. These are the two
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely.
You polish yourself.
So that is the part where our dealing with the outside world starts to change. Shuddhi inside starts to happen. Isn't it? Because our effort can be put only on the world we are dealing with. Inside world is still difficult for us to directly access and clean. But by changing our views to the outside world, the way we deal with things, inside world will start to get purified. This is how I felt it was.
No. Excuse me. You are wrong, Vijay. You have to clean yourself first. Then the dealing with others happens automatically. Actually, it is simultaneously should be both.
Simultaneous. It's not.
It is not.
And outer there.
But from outside also, because we are dealing always outside, it has to start with outside. But unless you clean inside, it will not be happening correctly.
What I'm saying is, I don't have the direct access to the inside. That's why I said, okay, yes, doing Kriya, doing.
Therefore, Guru is needed, no?
Correct. So that is correct. I'm saying those practices are all still the karma. It's a form of karma. We do some action, right? sitting
That
and
is-
doing Kriya is also
Same
a
thing with
karma.
Sandhya Vandana also. Same thing with
Yes, yes,
Sandhya Vandana.
everything. So all those things are still an external factor resulting in an inner purification. What I'm trying to, maybe I'm wrong, but how to clean the inside? Everyone wants to clean it, but is there a direct way to clean it? Maybe not. At least I don't know. I
Guru
don't have
is
it.
needed. Guru is
Guru,
needed.
yes, Guru obviously he can do all magic, but I'm saying till we become Gyanis and Guru's full
The
grace has
outside world, we need the outside world as a laboratory to clean the inside, isn't it?
Inside.
uh-huh. Yeah, use it as a laboratory or testing ground to test
That
all
is
our.
what we do at age of 8, Sandhya Vandana. He is also the first Guru. You know, we start
So
doing
I
that
think
there only. Hmm.
we are all saying the same thing, but maybe our interpretation
I know we're all saying we're describing the elephant in different ways.
different ways.
But you know, that is the reason why Karma Yoga is so important. Because see, the difference between sannyasa and Karma Yoga is what sannyasi is absolved of all actions, of all ritualistics and whatever, nitya naimitika karmas. He's already crossed over this part. He's already has some hold of he has to be a karma yogi, otherwise he cannot take to sannyasa. So he has had a hold on his raga dveshas. He has had that antakarna shuddhi, and therefore he's eligible as a sannyasi. But whereas the rest of us in the bandwagon have to cleanse ourselves, rid ourselves of this raga dvesha, so that we it amounts to this antakarna shuddhi.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
therefore the intention when you sit and do a puja, if you're, that is also an attachment. That is, see, that is, I think that is allowed over here, because a karma yogi is allowed to take that one little intention, is that he is doing this for the sake of antakarna shuddhi.
And Brahmra Didi, any action you do towards spirituality is not attachment, I feel. That is also for your antakarna shuddhi.
Yeah, but then you're doing it with an intention, so that becomes an attachment. No, you cannot deny the fact that you're doing it for antakarna shuddhi.
But then we won't be able to do any action like that towards on this path, because every action has some kind of attachment, some kind of result. Yes,
Of course.
it's there. But
Yes,
then, like they say, na mind jada bye nahi karna chahiye. Just go on this path and do it, follow it. Because attachment, any action which you do, whether it's advanced course, हम क्यों advanced course जा रहे हैं? For a mind to be more still. See, that becomes an attachment. एक intention हो गया है. So you can't for everything you can't just stick to the attachment. Let go and you do your karma, whatever it is required for antakaran shuddhi, and that's it. That's what I feel.
that is what I'm saying. That one thing is that you're doing it for antakarna shuddhi. That is that last. You can call it differently. You can call it intention. You can call it attachment. But there is that result of the karma, because every karma has a result. So the result can be either punya or antakarna shuddhi. If it is punya that you're doing karma for, if you're doing a puja or a homa for punya, then you're back in the cycle of samsara. But whereas if you're doing it with an intention of cleansing your mind, you don't have the punya as the result, then it will help you ascend this path.
Can I add one sentence not connected to anything? Gurudev always say ki you don't know which moment you will be enlightened. So it is not any equation for karma and antakaran shuddhi. It happens automatically. What Vijayji says is, I think it's correct, but it happens automatically. We don't have to think ki how we can clean. Okay, in Bhagavad Gita it is said karma, jnana, meditation. These are the three things which can make you pure and antakaran shuddha. Like this.
No, this is a process. Sorry, Kaji, this is a process. Okay, process is a
Which-
process. What we are doing, karma yoga,
Okay.
this, that, everything is a process. But
Yeah,
what happens, happens.
we are getting it because of the grace, and we are coming
Yeah,
to know
yeah.
this thing. Yeah,
No, this is a knowledge.
yeah,
And it can happen in a minute or it can happen whatever it is.
yeah.
It depends upon your punya again, grace,
Again. Hmm.
what we have earned.
So, means slow down, cool down, like efforts are there, but not with so many intentions. It should be a light intention, and you live with the intention, like sankalpa.
That is what even Bhagwan says. No, what Gurudev
Not a
says,
single minute,
fine,
not
but
a single minute will pass without a sankalpa. Not a single minute, you know. Only we
Yeah,
have
and you are without, we cannot live without karma again. Every
yeah.
minute there is a
Therefore-
karma happening.
Therefore, why Guruji is stressing on meditation is there you are completely free of doing. You are it being. So if you increase the meditation, you are in the sannyasa. You are doing nothing there. You don't want anything there. And you will not do anything that time. That is what is meditation. So meditation is going into that space where you don't do anything, that is sannyasa, almost.
so I'm just going to read this. Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. This is a very clear statement. Karma cannot create atma shuddhi. But if it is backed by renunciation of attachment to the results of action, sangam tyaktva, it can. Otherwise, karma can only bind you. It cannot release you. And he says, Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sa papena padma patram ivambhasa. Like the lotus leaf is not affected by water, the one who performs actions, giving up attachment, offering them to Brahman, is not affected by any action. In instances such as these, the word tyaga is often used in the context of karma yoga. At times, the word sannyasa is also used in the same sense. We will see that the word sannyasa generally means renunciation of action, karma sannyasa, and tyaga, renunciation of the results of action, karma phala tyaga. Later, Krishna is going to say, giving up all dharma, sarva dharman parityajya, take refuge in me. Here the word tyaga means renunciation of all actions. Sarva karma sannyasa, which is based on pure atma jnana, knowledge of the self. In order to gain that knowledge, we have two lifestyles, sannyasa and karma yoga. Here, sannyasa is karma sannyasa, the giving up of all obligatory karma, also called vividisha sannyasa. And karma yoga is tyaga, renunciation of the result of action. This renunciation of results of action is called yoga because it is an indirect means for gaining the knowledge through antakarana shuddhi. Therefore, tyaga and yoga go together here. Because Arjuna does not see the difference between sannyasa and tyaga, he has a lingering doubt which is expressed in his question here. His doubt always is which of the two lifestyles, that is Vividisha sannyasa or karma yoga, he should opt for. This time, he does not ask which of the two is better, but that is not because his confusion on this issue is resolved. He puts the same question differently, presenting it as a desire to know the difference that exists between sannyasa and tyaga. Krishna understands the spirit of the question very well and therefore gives an elaborate, all-inclusive answer. Certain questions do not have snap answers, and this is one of them. When Arjuna asks which is better, sannyasa or karma yoga, it is very clear that he does not understand either. The question itself shows the vagueness in his understanding. If you ask me what is the capital city of a given state, I can give you a snap answer, but this is an entirely different question. It stems from a vast vagueness of the whole subject matter, and therefore it has to be answered with care. Arjuna's question here comes from the same vagueness that made him ask similar questions in the previous chapters. Lord Krishna has spent a lot of time on this issue, and Arjuna definitely must have understood it better each time. But still, it is not clear. This time, instead of asking about sannyasa and karma yoga, he asks about sannyasa and tyaga and hopes to hear about his real issue, karma yoga and sannyasa. And his hope was fulfilled by Krishna. Here, Arjuna addresses Krishna as, "O mighty armed Mahabahu." I'll just take a few minutes. Because Krishna was a man of valor. I want to know, Veditum Ichchami, he says, the nature of sannyasa. Sannyasasya tattvam. Not only that, he wants to know the truth of tyaga separately. Tyagasya cha prithak. He addresses Krishna here with two more words as Rishikesha, the Lord of the senses, the one who is the self of all and because of whom the senses exist and function. And again, as Keshini Shudana, the destroyer of Keshi, an Asura who was in the form of a horse. He makes it clear that he wants to know, Prithak, separately, what is sannyasa and what is tyaga. Because he finds that Krishna uses these two words entirely differently, and yet they seem to have the same meaning. Sannyasa means renunciation, but it also has a separate popular meaning. Since he is using these words differently, Arjuna wants to know more about the truth, tattva, of tyaga and sannyasa and the vision of Krishna. Although he only says, Veditum Ichchami, I want to know, we understand, because of the context, that what is implied here is a request. Please teach me. Lord Krishna teaches him, and thus we have the 18th chapter, which elaborates extensively on sannyasa. Apart from sannyasa, Krishna also talks about the lakshana of a brahmana, a kshatriya, a vaishya, and a sudra. Then again, he talks about the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. All these we find in this chapter. Shankara introduces the next verse saying that here in the Gita Shastra, the words sannyasa and tyaga have both been used, but not directly commented upon, and therefore their meaning is not clear. In order to establish the meaning of the words sannyasa and tyaga for Arjuna, the questioner Arjuna the questioner, Bhagavan continues. So I think we'll stop here. We were not able to do verse 2, but I would think maybe if you all can read up this, I posted the PDF in the group. Before tomorrow's class, we will be in a better position to understand and follow what is being enunciated here. So yeah, we are all like in Arjuna's boat only. We've been going through now 17 chapters, but we still have some doubts which are yet to be cleared.
And Dr. Dharandra, in spite of 18 chapters, I still got angry yesterday.
That's okay. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You cannot You don't need to blame or judge yourself.
Then, in fact, my husband said, "You get up at 4 o'clock. Please stop the recording
Okay.
and take."
1 second. Wait, let me stop the recording. Let me just complete the thing. We'll finish the Shanti part.
Sorry.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu.